Yo, what's going on guys? Evan Tanaka here, back with another video. In today's video, we got I rate and improve your guys' team. I don't know what episode it is, but it is going to be a new episode of this series. If you guys do not know what the series is, basically you guys send me your team on Twitter at EvanTanaka10, and I give you guys a rating 1 through 10, could be a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10, whatever I do think about your team, and then give you guys suggestions on what players to upgrade and what players to replace to make your team even better. Before we get into the video, if you guys are new here, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe down below. I post 3 to 4 Myteam videos every single day and give you guys some of the best Myteam content on the platform. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. Looking at the first team here from Jared, he's got 350,000 MT and he's on current gen. So he's got Kate at the 1, Terry at the 2, Pippen at the 3, Thurl at the 4, and Yao Ming at the 5. A good starting lineup: LaMelo, Reggie, AK, Larry Nance, and Kristaps Porzingis. It's a very good overall team. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, probably an 8.5, maybe a 9. It's a very good team. Couple positions I would change with 350,000 MT is backup point guard. I would go ahead and get a Jalen Rose, get Alonzo Ball, or get a James Harden. I think they're all better than LaMelo Ball and are going to be a big upgrade. And for your squad, I'd probably go Lonzo or Harden just to give you a bit more offense, because you have Reggie, who's a good defender and a good offensive player, but AK and Larry Nance are more just defensive minded. So I'd probably go with Lonzo or Harden for your backup point guard. In the backup center, I do like Kristaps, I do like Yao Ming. Your small forwards are good. I like Pippen, I like AK, I like Terry, I like Reggie. For me personally, I know a lot of people like Larry Nance. I'm not the biggest fan of Larry Nance. I'd rather a guy like Evan Mobley, but I know a lot of people like Larry Nance. So if you like Larry Nance, I think he's good enough. But for me, the only main suggestion I would say is just get rid of LaMelo Ball, pick up a guy like Lonzo, pick up a guy like James Harden, and your team will be much better. But thank you for sending your team on to the next one. Next team here is from Payton. He said he has 200,000 MT. He's got Kyrie at the 1, Joe Johnson at the 2, Tatum at the 3, Thurl Bailey at the 4, Pau Gasol at the 5, Bonga, Lance Stevenson, Larry Bird, Lamar Odom, and Kristaps Porzingis off the bench. First off, I would say probably start Kristaps at the 5 over Pau Gasol, and then maybe even start Lance over Joe Johnson. But for how he has a constructed rating out of 10, probably a 7.5. I don't think I can go higher than that. He's got a couple good players in here, like top tier players like Kristaps, like Thurl Bailey, like Jason Tatum, but has the rest of the team is kind of just, average players that are still good, but nothing crazy. You have 200,000 MT. The first position I think you really need to upgrade is going to be the starting shooting guard position. I would go ahead, get Terry Dishinger. He's only 40,000 MT, and he's going to be a much better option than Joe Johnson. For point guard, I mean, Kyrie's solid. Isaac Bonga is solid as well. If you want to grind for a guy like De'Aaron Fox, I think that could be a good idea as well, to play over Kyrie or to play over Isaac Bonga. You can make the decision on that, but definitely get Terry over Joe Johnson. I think Tatum and Bird is fine. Thurl Bailey and Lamar Odom. I would maybe replace Lamar Odom, try to get a little bit better power forward. If you can afford Evan Mobley, I'd probably recommend Mobley. If you can't, even Pink Diamond LeBron or Pink Diamond AK are two really good options at the power forward position. Probably recommend getting Pink Diamond LeBron over Lamar Odom. Backup point guard, Isaac is fine. Isaac Bonga is fine. Pau Gasol starting, like I said, I would start KP. And then off the bench, I mean, Pau Gasol is solid, so you could still run him. I would maybe grind for DeAndre Ayton, go after Jaren Jackson Jr., right? Try to get those type of cards. But if you want to run your squad with KP starting and Pau Gasol off the bench, that is fine. So for example, your team could look something like De'Aaron Fox, Terry Dishinger, Tatum, Thurl Bailey, and KP. That is a very good starting lineup. Bench could be De'Aaron Fox, Lance Stevenson, Larry Bird, Pink Diamond LeBron, and Pau Gasol. I think that team is a lot better, but thank you for sending your team on to the next one. On to the next team here from B2K. He says he's got 250,000 MT. He's got Cade, Scottie Pippen, Jason Tatum, Thurl Bailey, Yao Ming. Off the bench, got De'Aaron Fox, Cassie Russell, Dominique, Larry Bird, and Kristaps Porzingis, as well as Jaren Jackson Jr. as his 11th man. Rating out of 10, I like Scottie Pippen, I like Cade, I like Thurl, I like Yao Ming, Cassie solid, De'Aaron Fox, Kristaps Porzingis. I would say your two positions that I would upgrade is probably Dominique and Larry Bird, and they bring the rating down a little bit. So I'd probably say like an 8.5 as well, maybe an 8 out of 10, somewhere in that range. Can't give you higher than 8.5, I don't think, just because like you have some really good players like Cade, like Scottie, but I just think there's some better players you could get at the backup 3 and the backup 4. For the backup 3, I think picking up a guy like AK-47 is going to provide you some really good defense. AK is still one of the best defenders in the game, and since you already have Cassie and De'Aaron Fox, who are two good guys at scoring the ball. I think having a lockdown defender instead of Dominique, who isn't the best defender in the world, I think that would help you out a lot. And then at power forward, you already have Thurl Bailey, which is a nice option. I think, like I recommended for a couple other teams, Evan Mobley is still super good power forward, so that's probably who I'd recommend for you. So in your bench could look De'Aaron Fox, Kazi Russell, AK-47, Evan Mobley, and Kristaps Porzingis. I think that could definitely be a W. I don't think you need to touch anything in your starting lineup. I think it's perfectly fine. So for the bench, I'd probably just upgrade your backup small forward and your backup power forward, and then your squad would definitely be an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for sending your team though. On to the next one here from Francisco. I'm pretty sure it's how you say his name. He's got 888,000 MT. Unauctionable cards have extra hops, including Harden and Zoe. Every other player has key gold badges added with shoes. Looking to make my third unlimited run in a row for the unlimited reward. What's the best arrangement and players to add? Willing to spend 150k to 180k. Okay, thank you, because that actually makes it a lot easier if you explain it like that, because now I kind of understand what you're trying to do. Point guards, I think both of them are good. Shooting guards, I like Scottie Pippen, not the biggest fan of D-Book. I like your small forwards. Power forwards, like I said, love Evan Mobley. Not the biggest fan of Larry Bird. Pau Gasol and Jaren Jackson Jr. are solid. Rating at 10, I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10. Your point guards are really good. You got some other really good positions. Just probably like 3 players I would upgrade. First position, definitely gotta be Pau Gasol. Get Kristaps Porzingis, super good, man. Kristaps is only 50,000 MT. He's definitely worth it, definitely better than Pau Gasol. If you also want to just upgrade both your center position, which I'd probably recommend, go ahead, pick yourself up an Embiid. Embiid's only 150,000 MT, KP's only 50,000. You're going to spend 200,000 of your MT, but your center position is going to get upgraded a lot. You're going to have Embiid starting, KP off the bench, or KP starting and Embiid off the bench. Doesn't really matter. They can both stretch the floor really well. And if you do that, I think your center position becomes a lot better and makes your team easily plus, 0.5 better to an 8.5. Power forwards, Evan Mobley is definitely staying on the squad. Backup power forward, I think even Pink Diamond LeBron is better, but I think Thurl Bailey is a good option for you and your team. I think Thurl Bailey would definitely help you out over a guy like Larry Bird. And one thing I want to say about your bench, I don't know who you run your offense through, so definitely we're going to pick up Terry Dischinger or Zach LaVine for your backup too. If you want to go more offense, go with a guy like Zach LaVine. If you want to go with a bit more defense and better overall, I would go with a guy like Terry Dischinger. Off the bench, Lonzo can create a little bit. D-Book honestly cannot create for himself. He can shoot wide open, but that's about it. Same thing with AK. If he's wide open, he can definitely knock down. And the same thing with Larry Bird, but no one on the bench can really move really well. They can create their own shot, in my personal opinion. So I would replace D-Book. Get a guy like Terry Dischinger. He's going to provide you with more defense and more offense. Overall, just way better than Devin Booker. And if you get Zach LaVine, their defense is about the same, but he's going to be a way better offensive card. And other than that, I think you're pretty much good. Your starting lineup, I like Harden, like Pippen, like Tatum, like Evan Mobley. Just would get Embiid or KP. And then off the bench, have Lonzo, Terry, AK, Thurl Bailey, and let's say KP or Embiid. I think this will make your team easily an 8.5 out of 10, maybe even a 9. So thank you for sending your squad. Those are my suggestions for your team. On to the next team from Darm. I think it's how you say his name. I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing anybody's names. He's on next gen 600k. I mainly play clutch time and grind challenges, so I do not care about my bench. I usually play Thurl over Bol, but in clutch time Bol is too cheesy, so I had to use him. Okay, so we don't really care about the bench. We're mainly trying to make a starting lineup and have an okay bench. So rating out of 10 for your entire team. I'll do your starting lineup and your entire team. For your entire team, probably an 8 out of 10. And probably the same for your starting lineup, 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5. Realistically, I think there's only a couple positions you need to change. For your starting lineup, I think that's fine. Honestly, don't think you really need to improve anything. Just if you wanted to improve your bench, I think replacing a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. and getting a guy like KP could be an upgrade. I think Paul Millsap is also decent as well, so you can keep him. Like I've recommended for the last couple of teams, Devin Booker is nice, but I think Terry Dischinger and Zach LaVine or Scottie Pippen just provide a lot more for you. Also, what I would do instead of Jason Tatum, I would probably run Scottie Pippen. If you're just trying to look to use your starting lineup, spend that 60,000 MT. You gotta have Scottie Pippen on your squad. He is so good. He's a must-play card. So that's probably what I do. I get rid of Tatum, get Scottie Pippen for the starting 3, replace Devin Booker, and get Terry Dischinger or Zach LaVine, and that's pretty much all I do. So my 3 upgrades are get rid of Tatum, get Scottie Pippen, backup 2, get Terry Dischinger or Zach LaVine, and then for the backup 3, get Kristaps Porzingis. Those are my suggestions. Thank you for sending your team. On to the next squad here from edarp. I'm pretty sure he's got 850,000 MT and he's no money spent on current gen. Rating out of 10, he's got K, Terry, Pippen, Yee, and DeAndre Ayton. Off the bench, Donovan Mitchell, Lance, AK-47, Thurl Bailey, and Wang. Rating out of 10, can't really go higher than an 8. Still a very good squad, but I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 for these suggestions. I think your starting lineup 1, 2, and 3 are really good. It just would probably improve your bench and your 4 and 5. So what we're gonna do is probably start Thurl at the power forward, and then off the bench get Evan Mobley. That's probably what I'd recommend. And then same thing for that guy's starting lineup. I'd recommend the same thing. Get Kristaps, get Embiid. Those are 2 top centers in the game. You're going to improve your center position a lot. And then for backup point guard, get Lonzo or get Harden. That's who I'd recommend. And then shooting guard, I think Lance is fine. If you want to go ahead and spend a bit of extra MT to get a Zach LaVine, I think that could be worth it as well. But Lance is a very good defender. So for this squad, just a couple positions I would improve. Definitely your center position. Get rid of Yee, get Evan Mobley. I think Evan Mobley is pretty much the exact same as a guy like Yee. Just does everything better on the defensive end than Yee and does pretty much the same on the offensive end. So improve Yee, get Evan Mobley for your centers. I would recommend getting Embiid, get KP. You could also go after Wilt, is a good option as well. And then for backup point guard, probably go after Harden or Lonzo. And then backup 2, maybe look to get a guy like Zach LaVine. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. If you want to be in the next video, send me your team on Twitter at EvansonAka10, and you might be featured in the next I Rate and Improve Your Guys' Team series. Hope you guys did enjoy this episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.